As you can probably guess, the big thing about update 31.2 is the next series of Nightwave. Going forward, they're basically calling them volumes now. This would be... I really wanted to call this Series 4, but let's be honest, after Glassmaker, there hasn't been one. It's more of a greatest hits collection at this point, since they are referring to mixes here. It officially begins later today, so it hasn't actually started yet, but it will start today, which is great, and it's going to bring some new goodies with it. More importantly, there are new acts with it that is going to be great. Free 1 captured Solaris using a Granum Crown on basically any Corpus ship. The new tile set that isn't new anymore is 1. Convert 10 Riven Slivers into a Riven mod. Riven Slivers are not that easy to get a hold of, so that's one that is actually going to be pretty hard to do. Destroy 3 Necromech Isolation Vault Guardians. Every member of the squad will get it, so all you have to do is complete a level 3 Isolation Vault. Yep. The progression works together as the team, which is great. Kill 300 enemies with a Necromech without it getting destroyed. That is really easy as well. Open one of each era/tier of relics. Lith, Meso, Neo, and Axi. So it's one of each tier of relic. They're all pretty easy. The dailies, there's a lot of new daily ones that I'm not going to go through them all. It's a daily one, so they're all fairly easy, but the weekly ones, collect 15 Vorm or Fast residue, gain 5,000 standing, with 1 Syndicate faction. What if they're all maxed? Well, we have a trick for that, and I'll show that in a moment, mainly because the game is kind of updating in the background as I start this. Plunder 1 Alad V Secret... I may actually finally do that video. It worked out at way longer than I thought it was ever going to be. There are so many secret labs on Jupiter that finding them is annoying. There is one I have never ever managed to have that room spawn yet, and I looked for ages and then stopped and then realized that there's that many of these different rooms. I either split it into many different rooms, so many different videos, or one really long video. Now, with that being a thing, may actually do something with it, assuming I didn't delete it, which I'm pretty sure I did a few weeks ago. So kind of upset about that one. Complete one mission with only a single pistol and a glaive equipped. The old ways. Nice name on it as well. And kill 20 enemies in 5 seconds. Wow. Okay. Bloodthirsty much? That's a Speed Nova job right there. Basically, I can't even say any defense mission because, to be fair, survival, high level, with a full squad, and Speed Nova, so all the enemies, just let them come to you, and then take them all out. To be honest, a decent Equinox, Saren, or Volt build, and go to Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, that is probably the easiest way to do that one. 20 enemies within 5 seconds? Try twice that in a split second. As for the Syndicate Standing one, if your Syndicate is maxed, and I'm not going to use one of these as an example because those two are maxed, but I never use them, I use Red Veil, just go to Offerings, and if you have everything in here and there's nothing in here you want, you can trade the weapons, or you can trade the mods. Just find somebody who wants one of these mods and trade it to them for one that you don't have. Always kind of works. Or, of course, there is weapon parts. You can trade weapon parts. If you don't want to do that, you could always just buy relic packs. Let's call this kind of a teaser, shall we? The secret labs basically are these weird terminals. You start off at one, it kind of gives you the order on the door for the labs, so finding that first, knowing where every one of these terminals is, because you have to activate all of them, and the last one is always next to the door itself. You could see it there. opens the lab, and that's the secret labs that... There's actually a lot of good stuff inside of these labs, but you do have to swap to operator to open that door in front of you, and it's the purple locker to the right there that you are basically going to be looking for. Yes, I found the footage. I actually still have all of these from when Wisp was first added. But that's how you also get the scenes from in here. And there's some weirdness that goes on in here. Operator blasted the door open, and there's the sentient. In here will be also another, I think it's actually 2 purple lockers. One to the right and one to the left. Most of the labs are pretty much the same, but they're kind of nightmare-ish to get into. Nope, it opened. Amalgam enemies. Typical. Typical. I forgot about them. It was so long ago when these were all added that I'm amazed I actually still had them. But the purple locker was missing. There's only 1. Wow. I thought there was 2 in here. There's just the 1. Different location. Each lab is different. This is one that in basically the starting area of most places. And come on, open it, silly. This is the problem with watching older stuff. Another scene, because there's... I cannot remember how many labs there is. I know that I'm missing 1. Because it will not spawn. I don't know which one, but now I want to find it. And sadly, after waiting 3 hours for them to actually release Nightwave to the public, it still says it will begin later today. I'm done waiting. All because they want it synced across all platforms, and they royally messed up the PlayStation 5 update, which means it can't launch everywhere, which means the new rewards can't be shown off properly because there's a dual sword skin, Ivora in action glyph. Why that's behind Nightwave, nobody will ever know. Glacier Sanana. Nice, icy, snowy. That I really, really wanted to see. The Lisette domestic drone, as well as the Wolf Howl emote, the Nora stencil, there's an ephemera, the K-Drive scroll for the Wolf of Saturn 6. Umbra Former. Always Umbra Former. It will always return to the rewards. But Augments wise, the Tigress augment looked like it was going to be pretty good, but the dual wielding Jagora plus 300% damage if no enemies are within 10 meters. Keeping them at range, it does 3 times the damage. Yeah, they looked like they would be absolutely amazing. And they have fixed the Xbox problem, but the PlayStation 5 still has a problem, and they are blaming it on compiler issues that they are looking at, and have been for over 2 hours, even though this says 1, they didn't actually update the website for about 40 minutes of people just getting this screen. You know, as they tend to do every now and then. While they don't know what's going on, they can't tell people what's going on. They found out what was wrong, fixed it for Xbox, but Sony, that could delay Nightwave till tomorrow, sadly. They have also in this update buffed lots of augments. Ashes Smoker, wow. Added 100 yeah, there's way too many of these to go through, so I'll just kind of leave them on the screen as I slow down fairly quickly. Scroll down fairly quickly. So if you want to read them, you can. There'll also be a link to the forum post in the... Well, actually, that was pretty much all of them on the screen at once, wasn't it? Ah, close. They're basically adding new perks to every augment. Tempest Barrage gains 100% ability strength with Hydroid's Corroding Barrage augment. It doubles the damage for Corroding Barrage. Yep, the augments are going to get much better quickly, because it says buff a section of augments, but if they've done these, they'll probably do the rest as well. Was really hoping they would do the Rumbler one for Atlas that allows you to take control of a Rumbler, but nah, kind of a shame. There's a few decent ones though. Think we're going to have to end it though with Garuda. Her passive of killing enemies now increases damage by 5% up to 100% and drains by 1% every 2 seconds. Oh yes, her passive is going to be amazing. With her prime coming on the 28th, the rework has come way sooner than expected. Things like Dread Mirror with a projectile direction animation that changes mid-air before charges mid-air before releasing. The projectile can be charged while sprinting. Garuda will now be invulnerable while traveling to the target. Yeah, Dread Mirror, it's just little things, but not a great... It's just how they work changes, not really stat changes, like increasing the turn speed of Dread Mirror when not aiming. That's kind of an important one. They've just kind of made her that little bit better. Now, casting Blood Altar, you will be invulnerable as you travel to the target, so no more being about to die and getting killed as you travel towards the target to actually cast Blood Altar, which is actually going to be fairly useful because there's been a few times, don't know about anybody else, I've gone to use that and died mid-air. For Bloodletting, for some reason, they've slightly increased the energy drain from 35% to, and you can see it at the bottom there, 50%. But casting it now clears any proc that you may have on your frame, which is good, but it now costs more to run it. Then there is Seeking Talons that, while casting it, you become invulnerable until it is fully charged. You can now sprint with it. They have added a new directional animation. They've slightly reduced the max charge time for it. Mainly, the big thing with this, though, comes right underneath drain there where it says damage. It used to be 150. It's now 300 at max, which is basically doubling the damage for Seeking Talons. No matter how you have her set up, her fourth ability will now be doing way more damage. And to be fair, there's absolutely no point going into the Garuda Fixes, because if you actually read through them, it's skin adjustment, talon adjustment, visual effects, colouring effects, and a script error when using Dread Mirror. Well, as I said when we basically started this, Garuda is now better than she ever was, even though she has no mods in her, for the main reason of going into abilities and it having base stats. I could always have just unticked that. Well, no, just left that ticked, but it's her base stats that are the important, not her modded stats, because they just get better. But she is just better than she was before, ever so slightly. Increased energy drain on Bloodletting, but double damage on Seeking Talons, and Dread Mirror just working better, and Blood Altar making you invincible as you travel to the target. It's the small things that everybody kind of expected not to come until her Prime releases on the 28th of March. Which was weird to see that come earlier than her Prime did, because when they do things like this, sometimes they do it at the same time the Prime launches, not 2 weeks beforehand. So I'm guessing this is they've done this, but this is the first pass of the changes. If there are certain things people don't like, they will possibly change them back or change them to be even better before her Prime comes. Because let's be honest, we all know what Prime people were actually expecting to come on the 28th, and this is pretty much the only time I'm actually going to mention it. And with that, we'll leave this off here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.